Have you ever felt that your pain, emotional scars, or life's disappointments are weights that drag you down into the depths of despair? What if I told you that the very wounds you carry could be the source of your greatest strength, the chrysalis of your most profound transformation? Imagine the possibility that within every heartache lies a gateway to spiritual awakening, an opening to heal and harness an inner power so potent, it can transmute the lead of suffering into the gold of wisdom. Welcome to Transforming Pain into Power, How Spiritual Awakening Can Heal, a journey where we explore the mystical metamorphosis of suffering into strength. As we embark on this journey together, let us first acknowledge the ancient truth that pain is a universal human experience, yet it also holds the key to our individual enlightenment. How, you may ask, can one find power in pain, strength in suffering, and enlightenment in agony? Let's delve into the depths of this ancient wisdom, drawing from the well of spiritual traditions and philosophical insights to unearth the treasures hidden in our trials. 1. The alchemy of suffering, understanding pain as a catalyst. Alchemy, the medieval precursor to chemistry, sought to transform base metals into noble ones, with the ultimate goal of finding the philosopher's stone, a substance that could not only turn lead into gold, but also supposedly heal all forms of illness and extend life. In our spiritual quest, alchemy symbolizes the process of transforming our base experiences, our pain and suffering, into spiritual gold. But how does one begin this mystical process? Pain, when it grips us, seems like a malevolent enemy, one we strive to escape or defeat. Yet, the wise ancients would ask us, is it not through the struggle that a muscle grows strong? Is it not the grinding of the earth's plates that create mountains? Similarly, is it not the acknowledgement and acceptance of our pain that can lead to our greatest personal growth? Consider the story of the lotus flower, which roots in the mud and blooms above the water, untouched by its murky origins. Your pain is that mud, necessary, fertile, full of potential. Your spiritual awakening is the lotus, seeking the light of understanding, blooming into the beauty of awareness. Through meditation, mindfulness, and the embracement of life's impermanence, we begin to view our suffering not as an endpoint, but as a transformational force, guiding us toward a higher self, one that is resilient, empathetic, and wise beyond measure. 2. The wisdom of scars, embracing our imperfections. Have you ever observed that the most beautiful pottery is often the one that has been broken and mended? The Japanese art of kintsugi teaches us the beauty of repair, where broken pottery pieces are fixed with lacquer mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. It's a celebration of the item's history, a highlighting of its fractures, rather than an attempt to hide them. This philosophy encourages us to apply the same reverence to our emotional breaks and psychological scars. Imagine for a moment that each scar you carry is a mark of wisdom, a golden seam on the fabric of your soul. What would happen if instead of shaming these scars, we displayed them proudly as symbols of survival and learning? When we embrace our scars, our imperfections, we begin to see them as signposts of our journey, as evidence of our capacity to heal, to overcome, to persevere. By reflecting on our scars with compassion rather than regret, we can uncover the lessons they have to impart. Like the kintsugi pottery, our mended wounds become a testament to our resilience and inherent worth. We must ask ourselves, what can my scars teach me? How can they guide me toward a more compassionate, understanding, and authentic existence? Real-life application of this wisdom is found in sharing our stories, in vulnerable conversations, and in the art we create from our pain. As we learn to embrace and share our imperfections, we find that our experiences resonate with others, fostering connections that are deep, genuine, and often healing in themselves. This is the power of vulnerability as a transformative force, a key aspect of spiritual growth and self-realization. 3. The paradox of surrender, finding strength in letting go. Why is it that the moment we stop struggling in quicksand, we begin to rise? There's a profound lesson nature teaches us here, the paradox of surrender. In the spiritual realm, surrender does not mean defeat. It means aligning with a greater flow, a divine current that guides all life. But how can surrendering be powerful? Let's take a moment and think about water gentle enough to nourish life, yet powerful enough to carve valleys through mountains. It surrenders to gravity, to the shape of the land, and in doing so, it becomes an unstoppable force. Similarly, when we surrender our pain, our resistance to what is, we allow ourselves to flow with the greater rhythm of life. Surrender involves trust. Trusting that the pain we experience has a purpose, trusting in our resilience, and trusting that the universe is, at its core, benevolent. It is about releasing our grip on control, our rigid expectations of how life should be, and instead, embracing the transformative power of how life could be. In our daily lives, surrender manifests in the release of our constant need for control, in the acceptance of uncertainty, and in the peaceful recognition that not all things are within our power to change. By surrendering, we allow ourselves the freedom to respond to life's challenges with grace, rather than with force. And in that space of surrender, we often find the peace and clarity to move forward. 4. The role of mindfulness, being present with pain. Mindfulness, a word that echoes through the halls of spiritual and self-help realms. But what does it really mean to be mindful of our pain? And how does this awareness transform it into power? To be mindful is to be fully present with what is, without judgment or the intention to change it. It is the art of observing our pain with the curiosity of a child and the wisdom of an elder. This does not mean we allow ourselves to be consumed by it. Rather, we acknowledge it as we would a storm passing in the sky, observing its presence, understanding its nature, but not identifying with it. Imagine sitting by a river and watching leaves float by. Each leaf could represent a thought, a feeling, a pain. Mindfulness teaches us not to jump into the river chasing after the leaves, but to sit by the side and watch them pass. And in this watching, we find detachment. In detachment, we find peace. And in peace, we find the space to grow. Practicing mindfulness in our daily life could be as simple as breathing deeply, observing the sensations in our body without reaction, or listening fully when someone speaks, not just with the intent to reply, but to understand. As we become more present with our pain, we strip it of its overwhelming power, learning instead to draw lessons and strength from its whispers. 5. Compassion as a response to suffering. What is the role of compassion in the context of pain and suffering? How does extending compassion to ourselves and others transform the searing heat of pain into the warm light of healing? Compassion invites us to soften our hearts toward our struggles and those of others. It is the kindling that ignites the fire of healing. When we meet pain with compassion, we affirm our shared human experience, recognizing that everyone, at some point, walks through the flames of suffering. Consider the act of extending a hand to someone who has fallen. It's not just about lifting them up. It's about acknowledging their struggle and saying, "I see you, I feel with you, and you're not alone." This act of understanding creates a bridge, a connection that empowers both the helper and the helped. It is a force that binds and builds, that transforms solitary suffering into shared strength. Applying this to our lives means pausing before reacting, listening to understand, and speaking with the intent to comfort or uplift. When we practice compassion, we create an environment where healing is possible and resilience can flourish. It's about seeing the thorns of another's pain and choosing to become the balm that soothes rather than the wind that aggravates their wounds. 6. The lessons of nature growth through adversity. Nature is the grandest teacher of how to transform pain into power. Have you ever considered the way trees stand tall and strong, not despite the fierce winds, but because of them? The wind forces the trees to deepen their roots, to become more anchored, so they can rise higher. Similarly, we are not defined by the calamities we face, but by our response to them. Just like the trees, we can use the storms of our lives to deepen our roots in the form of beliefs, values, and connections that give us strength. In the face of adversity, we find the opportunity for profound personal development, to solidify our character and cultivate resilience. How can we emulate nature in our growth process? We can start by embracing challenges as a means to fortify our spirit. This doesn't mean seeking out pain, but when it arrives, as it inevitably does, we can choose to see it as an opportunity to evolve. It's about looking at the forest and understanding that each tree has weathered storms to reach for the sky. In practice, this might look like reflecting on past difficulties and recognizing the strength we garnered from them, finding the silver linings within our trials, and allowing those insights to illuminate our path forward. 7. The power of perspective, shifting our view of pain. Perspective is a powerful tool. It shapes our reality. But what happens when we shift our perspective on pain from an enemy to a teacher? Suddenly, the landscape of our suffering changes. We move from a place of victimhood to one of agency. Pain often feels like a constricting, dark room with no exits. However, by shifting our perspective, it's as if we find a window we hadn't noticed before, letting in light and revealing a door to wisdom and growth. Pain then becomes not just a room, but a corridor leading us to new, unexplored parts of ourselves. How do we enact this shift in perspective? It begins with the recognition that our perspective is a choice. By questioning our automatic interpretations of pain, we can challenge them and explore alternative views. It's asking ourselves, what else could this mean? Or how can this experience empower me? In real life, this might be the difference between seeing a failure as a dead end or as a detour on the road to success. It's about redefining our narrative around pain so that it reflects not just the hurt, but also the hope and the growth that comes with it. Each of these subtopics adds another layer to our understanding of pain's role in the journey of spiritual awakening. We will proceed to uncover more in the next sequence, building a mosaic of healing and empowerment. 8. Embracing vulnerability, the gateway to authentic power. Why do we so often associate vulnerability with weakness, when in reality, it could be our greatest strength? Consider the idea that vulnerability is a gateway to authentic power, the power that comes from being our truest selves. In vulnerability, there lies a profound opportunity for connection, not only to others, but to the deepest parts of ourselves. It's like standing in the light of our truth, shedding the armor that we believe protects us, only to find that our exposed heart is where our true power resides. But what does it look like to embrace vulnerability? It's the courage to say, "I don't know," or "I am hurting." It's the willingness to ask for help, to share our story without knowing how it will be received. Each act of openness is a step towards a more authentic self. Imagine the freedom of living without the weight of pretenses, of loving and being loved for who we truly are. This authenticity brings a resonance that empowers not just ourselves, but those around us to shed their facades as well. We start to cultivate relationships and communities built on the foundation of genuine connection and support. In real life, embracing vulnerability can start with small steps, like expressing an unpopular opinion or sharing a personal challenge with a friend. It's about the small moments where we choose honesty over hiding, connection over isolation. 9. Alchemy of the spirit, the transformation of pain into creativity. Throughout history, many of the greatest works of art, music, and literature have been birthed from places of deep pain. Pain, when channeled creatively, can be transformed into something transcendent. This is the alchemy of the spirit, the process of turning our leaden sorrows into golden insights that inspire and uplift. The act of creation becomes a conduit for expressing what is often too difficult to say in words. It provides a means to process, to understand, and to share our pain in a form that resonates with the soul. Consider for a moment the soul-stirring melodies of a sorrowful song or the evocative imagery of a painting. Each is a testament to pain transformed into beauty. It's as if through the act of creating, we are able to transmute our suffering into a shared human language that speaks of hope, resilience, and the indomitable spirit. How can we apply this transformation in our lives? We can channel our pain into whatever form of creativity speaks to us, whether it's art, writing, music, or even gardening and cooking. The medium is less important than the act of taking what feels raw and chaotic inside and giving it form and structure outside of ourselves. 10. The journey of forgiveness, releasing the pain to reclaim power. Finally, let's talk about forgiveness, often misunderstood as a gift to the one who has wronged us, when in reality, it is a profound gift to ourselves. Forgiveness is the choice to release the pain that binds us to the past, allowing us to reclaim our power and move forward with freedom. This journey is not about condoning hurtful actions or denying the pain they caused. It is about loosening the grip that resentment has on our hearts. It's akin to setting down a heavy load we've been carrying, perhaps not even realizing how it's been weighing us down. But how do we embark on this journey? Forgiveness starts with the acknowledgement of hurt and the recognition of the impact it has had on our lives. From there, it's the process, sometimes slow and arduous, of consciously letting go of the bitterness piece by piece. In real life, this might look like reflecting on the pain someone has caused you and choosing to wish them well. Or it may involve writing a letter that you never send. The act of forgiveness is deeply personal and doesn't necessarily require reconciliation. Conclusion: the essence of transformation, integrating pain into the fabric of growth. As we stand at the threshold of comprehension, we must ask ourselves, what have we truly learned about the essence of transforming pain into power through spiritual awakening? This transformation is not an event, but a process, a sacred journey that calls upon every fiber of our being to engage with our deepest pains, and in doing so, uncover our highest truths. It is a pilgrimage within, through the shadowed valleys of our inner landscapes, to arrive at the illuminated peaks of our spirit. In this odyssey, every step taken in compassion, every stride in understanding nature's resilient teachings, each shift in perspective, every embrace of vulnerability, all creative endeavors born from pain, and every act of forgiveness are not just paths leading away from suffering, but also leading deeper into the richness of our own souls. What does it mean then to integrate pain into the fabric of our growth? It means acknowledging that our wounds are not just scars, but also medals of our human experience, symbols of our capacity to overcome and to find meaning in the midst of life's tumult. As we weave these experiences into our narrative, we are not just survivors of pain, but alchemists turning our darkest lead into the most radiant gold. This is the profound wisdom, knowledge, and insight we carry forward not as burdens, but as lanterns lighting the way for ourselves and for others. Remember, the power reclaimed in the face of pain is a testament to the spiritual awakening that dwells within each of us. It's a power that does not diminish by being shared. Rather, it amplifies, creating a legacy of strength, wisdom, and compassion that echoes through our lives and the lives of those we touch. In closing, we find that pain, when embraced with an awakened spirit, is not the end of our story, but the beginning of a deeper narrative, one where every hardship refines us, every trial educates us, and every heartache elevates us, transforming pain into an indomitable power that propels us toward our truest potential. May this journey of understanding not only leave you in awe of the transformative power within you, but also inspire you to tread the path of healing with a heart full of courage, a mind open to wisdom, and a spirit brimming with the power of an awakened life. As we part ways in this moment of contemplation, carry forward the profound insights from this exploration, and let them be the guiding stars in your quest for healing and empowerment. May the wisdom distilled through these words resonate within you, sparking a transformative flame that endures and enlightens.